Hello, I'm Don Surrett. Welcome back to the Happy Hobo channel. Before we begin, it really helps to support the channel when you like and subscribe. Then let's get right into it with a product review. The subject of this review is the Alco RS-3 from Bowser. In early 2022, Bowser shipped some of the first examples of this new locomotive, and I purchased two in Boston and Maine, numbers 1510 and 1514. I will be covering features and details in just a bit, but for right now, let's just start them up and watch them run for a while. I was so pleased with the appearance and operation of these first two units that over the next several months I acquired three more, two in Grand Trunk and one in central Vermont. A couple of interesting details in this photo are the Canadian style number boards as well as the large winterization hatch. Also in this shot are the cab sunshades and rear view mirrors. In this overhead shot you can clearly see the dynamic brake detail on the top of the short hood as well as the louvers and vents on the side of the short hood. You can also see the very nice detail in the radiator fan on the long hood. Here's a better view of the dynamic brake detail as well as the unusual number boards. The little box that's just ahead of the cab on 1862, I have no idea what that is, but it seems to be unique to the Grand Trunk units. And then we have the Central Vermont unit. We still see the same Canadian-style number boards and the large winterization hatch, but we've got some differences from the Grand Trunk units. Here you will notice that instead of the dynamic brake on the short hood, we have a stack for steam heat and no dynamic brake. Also, the little box that we saw on the Grand Trunk unit in front of the cab isn't present on the Central Vermont unit. Also notice the cab-mounted horn, which is different from the Boston and Maine units, which we'll take a look at very shortly. Here's a last look at the Central Vermont and the Grand Trunk units together, and here you can notice the differences that we just talked about. The difference on the short hood, the Grand Trunk having the dynamic brake grids, and the Central Vermont having the steam generator stack. Also the box on the running board in front of the cab that's on the Grand Trunk unit, but not on the CV. Looking at the front of the Boston and Maine unit, the first thing you notice are the freestanding number boards and the lack of the giant winterization hatch that you saw on the Grand Trunk and CV units. Also, on the side of the hood, next to the big radiator, you'll see a box which I believe is for train lighting equipment. This angle, you again see the train lighting box and the corresponding step in the handrail, plus another small box in front of the cab on the engineer's side. Again, I do not know the purpose of that one. On the short hood, just behind the cab, you'll see the stack for the steam generator. This unit was obviously intended to be used in passenger service. So how would I rate the Bowser RS3s? As I'm sure you figured out by now, I like these locomotives a lot. They look great. Comparing the model to reference materials I have, it appears the important dimensions are all correct, and the paint jobs are among the best I've seen. The colors seem appropriate and well executed, and the road and unit-specific details are remarkable, and don't give the super detailers a whole lot left to do. I'll probably paint the cab interior and add some crew figures, but that's about it. It'll probably take me a while to work up the courage to weather these beautiful paint jobs. I also appreciate the body mounting method. You remove the coupler boxes and take off a couple of screws, and the body lifts off the frame with no secret latches to search for. This makes lubrication and maintenance much easier than some other models. Running qualities are top-notch, and they're good pullers. The maximum length train from my layout is 16 cars, and a pair of these RS3s take this up my 2.5% helix with ease, and I'm sure they would do much more. The slow-speed switching performance is superb, and with the well-executed Alco 244 sound, it's hard not to smile. If you've programmed ESU Loc Sound decoders before, you know they're more complicated to program than some other brands, but once you finish, the results are great. Everything is not rainbows and unicorns, however. My first pair, the B&M units, have been perfect from day one. However, both the Grand Trunk units suffered motor issues very early in their careers, only a couple of weeks apart. I contacted Bowser and they corrected the problem immediately with no fuss. 2 thumbs up for customer service. Both units have been fine ever since. I suspect maybe they had a batch of bad motors. I have also experienced this with both brand A's and the other brand B. So what's the bottom line? Would I buy them again? Absolutely. In fact, I have reservations for 2 main central units, I believe scheduled for later this year. Both the models and Bowser the company are a class act.